Well, we're talking today with Gigi Garner, daughter of Oklahoma-born movie and television actor James Garner, who turned 84 on April the 7th, I believe, and he's just published a memoir called The Garner Files. Gigi, thanks for talking to us today.
Oh, you're so welcome.
So, how's your father doing these days? I know he's had some past health problems, but I'm told he's keeping himself pretty busy and moving around.
Well, he's 84, so I think he's taking a bit of a rest, and I think he totally deserves one as well. He's worked so hard his whole life, and day in, day out, and he's just kind of chilling right now.
That's good to hear. Well, what's your earliest memory of your dad, and when did you begin to become aware that he was different from the average dad, that he might be famous?
Well, I don't even know if that's really hit me yet. Maybe I was kind of slow, but really, he was just my dad. I really didn't, when you're a kid, you're just very interested in playing and this and that, and you don't realize, kind of what's going on in the grown-up world. So I think it kind of took me a while, but really, my dad is just very down-to-earth. He didn't act like a movie star, and so I really didn't pay that much attention to it.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you saw him on film, and either on TV or on the big screen? And
gosh, I think my mom used to put me in front of the TV so I could watch the original Maverick series. But I do remember watching The Thrill of It All with Doris Day in a theater, and he drove in. That was the one where he drove into the swimming pool. And I think I started screaming in the theater because I think I was too little to realize this was just film, and I thought he was drowning. So I do remember that quite well.
Well, did you think other kids' dads were in the movies too? I mean,
you know what? I did grow up with other children whose parents were actors, and so it really didn't. And I grew up with people, my neighbors and things that weren't. But I really didn't pay all that much attention to it, to be honest, when I was a child.
Was it ever difficult for you in any way growing up as the daughter of a movie star, like in school or anything?
No, because I was going to a private girls' school, and I was a cheerleader with Jamie Lee Curtis. And of course, her parents were, actors. And no, you know what? I think degree-wise, I was very blessed and very lucky to be born, his daughter.
Did he ever did he talk very much about his experiences growing up in Oklahoma when you were kids?
You know what? My dad's, believe it or not, he's kind of introverted in some ways, and I don't think he talked a whole lot about it, but I did find a whole lot about it through his book, The Garner Files.
Of course, you were born out there in California, and you've since talked to him. I understand he's very proud of his Oklahoma heritage.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's so loyal. He wears that, he had a OU sweatshirt that he just wore to death, and then last Christmas I bought him a new one, a new red one, and a new white one, and he lives in those. He absolutely adores them. So he's a huge, huge Sooner fan.
Does he talk a lot more about his Oklahoma background with people these days? I get the impression that he does, that he's sort of re-embraced his Oklahoma.
Well, I don't think he ever unembraced it. He's very loyal to his state, no doubt. I think it just became more of a topic recently when the book came out, because it did have all the details and ins and outs and everything that happened. And I even, again, found out things that I didn't.
Yeah. Now, what kind of a father was he? I mean, was he absent a lot, or did he try to stay as connected as he could?
You know what? Most fathers are absent a lot. They're working. However, when my dad was, here, he was very present. He's the type of dad that, gets down on the floor and plays with you. And, he was a very present father when he was physically present. But I mean, of course, a lot of fathers have to go away to work, and my dad the same. Or if you're in the service, your dad goes away or whatever. So I don't think he was gone maybe any more than anybody else's dad.
Yeah. Did he take you to work with him whenever he could?
Oh, yeah.
On locations and things?
Whenever he could, I went to work with him, most definitely. I practically grew up on a set or a back lot, and I loved it. I really loved it. That was the most fun in the world for me to go to work with my dad.
Yeah. Who were some of your favorite people among his famous friends?
Oh, gosh. Oh, wow. You know, my dad had a lot of friends that were not in the business and that were in the business, but I mean, oh gosh, I can't even think of who they are at the moment. Forgive me, but there's so many people that were close to him, and I say were because most of those people, unfortunately, have passed away.
Yeah. Did he ever mention any favorites among his leading ladies that he worked with?
Yes.
Who were they?
Most definitely Doris Day and Julie Andrews.
Uh-huh. Now, Julie Andrews wrote the foreword to your father's new memoir, and it's, of course, it's glowing. It sounds like they were pretty close, and I believe they made 3 films together, didn't they?
I think they made 2 or 3. Yeah, you're right.
I think the third one was
Victoria, the Americanization of Emily, which is my dad's most favorite film that he ever did, and then One Special Night.
Yeah. Now he once told me the worst movie he ever thought he made was Budwing. Why does he hate that movie so much? I really kind of liked it when I first saw it.
You know what? I've never seen it, but I think he in the back of the book he said something like he didn't understand it, and he also said in the back of the book, "Can I make more than one worst film?" And that's what was so interesting about what John Winokur did as a co-writer of the Garner Files. He actually asked my dad to comment on all of his films. And I've never seen that in a book before. And most actors, I don't think, would be that honest. But I guess when you get to be 84...
You can be as honest as you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can you tell me about the rivalry between your dad and Steve McQueen, which was pretty well known? Was it mostly jealousy on McQueen's part? I mean, they both raced cars, and they were both leading men.
Well, gosh, he talks quite a bit about that in the book. They live next door to us, and so I never saw any outward signs that they were mad at each other or anything. I only saw them happy, hanging out, riding motorcycles, or racing their Mini Coopers down our street. But I think perhaps he may have been a bit intimidated by my dad, but my dad's not competitive. He's absolutely not competitive, especially with other actors. He's a generous, reactor. And, I think Steve McQueen had some, issues, and those kind of bled over onto practically everything he did.
Yeah. What were some of the privileges you were able to enjoy and appreciate because of his celebrity status as you were growing up? I understand you got to sit in the front row at a Beatles concert in Italy at one point.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of the things that happened when I was really too young to appreciate it, unfortunately. But, I mean, obviously I was very blessed and lucky and to be able to go around the world with my dad and do some of the amazing things that we've done, And there's a section in the book where I talk about many of the things that I got to do, because also John Winokur and my dad decided they wanted a couple people to, write down their reflections as well. But there were many, many things that I got to do. From one time my dad, I got to go up in the Goodyear blimp with my dad, and my dad drove the blimp. Which was amazing. And then, of course, he was a race car driver, so when they were making Grand Prix in 1966, at Brands Hatch, my dad put me in the front of the Formula car that he drove and took me around, in the race car. And, I got to do all kinds of amazing things, got to meet amazing people, royalty, the president in the Oval Office, all kinds of things that most people would never get an opportunity to do, and just because, I was born at the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Now, his marriage to your mother, Lois, has lasted more than 50 years, which is some kind of Hollywood record. It's got to be. What do you think is the secret of their marital success?
Oh, wow. I think he talks a bit about it in the book. I really don't know. I honestly, I think he has a quote in the book, something about marriage is like the army, and they don't like it, or something. It's hard, but you'd be surprised how many people re-enlist.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I think he kind of summed it up there.
Yeah. Well, people seem to have nothing but good things to say about your dad from everything I've ever read about him. What kind of a man has he been in your eyes?
You know what? People know my dad as the public person, the actor, but to me, he is just a great man. He was a great father. I feel like I had the best father in the world. All my friends worshiped my father, and not because he was a movie star, just because he was the best father, and the most fun. And he's just a good guy. He has a gift, and one of the things that's so amazing about him is he treats everyone the same. He doesn't give anyone a preference or a priority just because they're the studio head or they're the key grip. He treats everyone with respect, and he truly does live by the golden rule, and that's very rare. But I think that has a lot to do with his upbringing, his groundedness, and where he came from, because he never forgot where he came from. And a lot of people do. When they get in Hollywood and they get all mesmerized by this and that, it's, you take off onto another planet. My dad just never did that.
Well, you can tell him he's welcome back here at home anytime he wants to visit.
He loves it there, believe me. We have a lot of family there, and it's very near and dear to us.
Yeah. Will he be doing any new film projects anytime soon or at all?
You know what? I don't know, but I think, my dad has spent his whole life working every minute of every day. And I think that, when you get to a certain place, and he has been, somewhat ill over the last couple of years, I really don't think that, he needs to push it. So I think he's really just kind of taking some time and just, resting right now, because really, when you get to be 84, you kind of slow down a bit. And he's had such a rapid pace over the last 30, 40 years. I mean, he never stopped. Never. One of the things that's really remarkable about my dad that I wanted to point out is that there are very few actors in Hollywood or anywhere that have been able to go from film to TV, back to film, back to TV, back to film. And he's a very rare bird in that area. Not a lot of people could do that, and I really admire him for that. And also, I'm in the process of, my dad and I have picked a couple of projects that we'd like to make with Cherokee Productions, and so I'm sort of trying to switch gears a bit and go in that direction at the moment. So hopefully I can carry on my dad's legacy into the future.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing what that brings. Meanwhile, give him all our best from the folks back home.
I will.
And Gigi, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it as well.